The San Juan Mountains in Colorado are known for their stunning natural beauty, historical mines, rugged terrain, and a variety of outdoor recreational activities such as off-roading. This intimidating terrain may make you feel like you need to own a lifted Jeep Wrangler Rubicon to have the full experience of this amazing place. Well, we're here to tell you, you don't. In this video, I'm going to share with you the trails that stock trucks, and yes, even your family SUV, can drive so you can experience everything the San Juans have to offer. So, what are we waiting for? Let's dive right in. First, we are going to start with our easy or beginner trails. These trails are suitable for your Ford Escapes, base Outbacks and Foresters, Chevy Equinoxes, and even Nissan Rogues. Let's kick off this adventure with the Last Dollar Road. Bumpy, colorful, vast, and adventurous, this hidden dirt road in historic ranching country gives stunning rewards to those willing to take the time to get around the bend. Last Dollar Road winds through a low valley surrounded by jagged peaks and deep blue skies. Each bend delivers jaw-dropping scenery. It's hard to pick a favorite spot on this trail. At one point, you'll be at a cathedral of sun-bathed aspens, and another a flat vista with views of terrain of all the pine trees. This trail truly shows off what the San Juan Mountains are all about and how they connect you with nature. And that's what makes Last Dollar Road so special. If you ask any of the locals, they're going to classify this road as a beginning or intermediate trail depending on the weather. Four-wheel drive is absolutely not required as long as the road is dry. The Ridgeway Overlooks. This set of roads is a great way to spend a few hours to see some of the amazing scenery above Ridgeway, Colorado. Mostly you'll see amazing aspens, pine trees, wildlife, and some amazing overlooks. None of these roads require four-wheel drive unless you would like that gearing or as long as it's dry. Owl Creek Pass. On the journey to and from Owl Creek Pass, visitors can enjoy isolated panoramic views of southwest Colorado. Along the way, there are opportunities to see seasonal wildflowers, aspen groves, rushing streams, local wildlife, and the iconic features such as Chimney Rock and Courthouse Mountain. Owl Creek Pass has been used to cross Cimarron Ridge since the route was designated as a cattle drive in 1885. Unlike other trails in the region, this pass is meticulously maintained for passenger vehicles. If you're into camping, this area is popular for camping, hiking, and fishing at the Silverjack Lake. And, quick note, it's also movie famous. Animas Forks coming from the south side. A fantastic road through the heart of the San Juan Mountains just outside of Silverton, Colorado. Historic mines and mills and the spectacular Animas Forks ghost town are what draws visitors here every year. The road is pretty smooth until you get to the town of Eureka. After that, the road gets a little rocky and bumpy, but as long as you're careful and take your time, you'll be fine. You'll want to go slow if you have lower ground clearance since the road can have some washout sometimes depending on the spring weather conditions every season. This area is open from late spring into early fall depending on snowpack levels. And rounding out our beginner trails is Yankee Boy Basin, the lower side of Camp Bird Road out of Ouray, Colorado. The drive to Yankee Boy Basin from Ouray is spectacular. It is popular with tour companies and tourists alike, so be prepared for a lot of traffic if you're there when it's popular. You'll notice as you drive up, you'll see the Ouray Silver Mine on your way up the basin, and this is a successor to the Revenue Mine. Shortly after this mine, you'll see the remains of the Atlas Mill. And if you are in a lower clearance vehicle, they're going to want to stop before you hit the waterfalls. Next, we're moving on to some trails that require just a little bit more ground clearance, but we're not talking extremes. These trails are suitable for your non-Trailhawk Jeep Cherokees, Jeep Renegades, Outback Wildernesses, and Ford Explorers. We're going to continue with the Yankee Boy Basin, but we're going to talk about the upper section now. We'll note this one as above Sniffles Falls. The last section that climbs up the basin, this is really where you're going to want to have better ground clearance and not less. The road into the upper part of the basin has several obstacles and they vary by season. Honestly, these kind of obstacles are likely to discourage people without off-road experience, but they are nothing too terrible. With proper tire placement, most vehicles can make these sections. However, if you're not comfortable or you faced a washout like us, you can just park your vehicle off the side of the road and take a short hike to reach the top of the basin for some amazing views. Red Mountain Loop. This one almost made the passenger car list, but we decided because of some of the approach and departure issues, you might need something with a little more ground clearance. Mountain Pass Loop is known as an easy Jeep trail that combines a lot of old mining structures with the great alpine scenery. The trail connects with Highway 550, and about the middle you can be divided into two different sections. The northern section is viewable from the Red Mountain Mining History viewpoint along Highway 550. There are numerous ruins to explore in this area. One of the most visited is the Yankee Girl headframe. The southern portion of this trail is much different than the northern part. It's mostly above timberline and offers great views of the surrounding area, and there are only a few mines to view along the way. If you are in a lower clearance vehicle, you could probably do the southern section without any issues, but the northern section is going to be a little more difficult. The famous Alpine Loop, aka Engineer and Cinnamon Pass. If you're unfamiliar with the Alpine Loop, the distance is about 63 miles, and time is minimum of 7 hours without stopping. It's important to note that this entire route is a four-wheel drive terrain area. We personally do not believe that you need true 4-low to do this loop, but it can be helpful if you are not doing it in perfect weather. If it is wet when you're there, you're gonna probably want to have 4-low as an option. The Alpine Loop Byway navigates between the summits of the Rockies by two mountain passes. Engineer to the north rises 12,000 feet and provides an unsurpassed vantage point through photographs of the Uncompadre and Wetterhorn peaks. Both of these tower over 14,000 feet. They are some of Colorado's 14ers. On the southern route on Cinnamon Pass, it also tops out at about 12,000 feet. It provides views of some of the nation's highest mountains, Handy's, Sunshine, and Red Cloud peaks. The easiest way to accomplish this is the Silverton to Animas Forks to Cinnamon Pass to Lake City to Engineer Pass and back to Silverton. This avoids having to take the steep climb up Engineer Pass, however, you will be on the outside of Engineer on the way down. If you don't want to be on the outside, you might want to do it the other way, but then you're probably going to want 4-low for gearing. And shameless plug here, if you've completed the Alpine Loop, we have some merchandise for you. We've been selling these hoodies and stickers and shirts for years, so if you've done it, you might as well show it off that you've accomplished something pretty cool. Now, let's get into the fun, iconic trails that the San Juans are known for. To conquer this terrain, you'll want something with 4-low and a higher level of ground clearance. This means you'll want something similar to a Cherokee Trailhawk, Toyota Tacoma, Ram 1500, or Jeep Gladiator. Ophir Pass. This pass is a beautiful and easy Jeep trail that will take you between US 550 and Route 145. It is mostly a wide graded road with a few narrow spots and occasional rough spots on the west side going down the pass. The trail section of this is actually a narrow road that goes in between the peaks with talus slopes on both sides. In honesty, if you're an expert driver, you might be able to do this with a lower clearance vehicle, but some parts will require proper tire placement to avoid damage. Also, because of how steep the either side is, we do recommend 4-low for gearing. Stony Pass. Stony Pass is another way to get from Silverton to Highway 149, and honestly, I think it's probably the best way to do so, especially if you like off-roading. You can start this trail on either side, either in Silverton or at the Rio Grande Reservoir. It's about 38 miles long and it's super bumpy for most of the trail. The trail itself isn't very difficult, but you will have some loose rock to deal with. Honestly, the hardest part of this trail is the optional section up to Kite Lake. But if you have the time, you'll definitely want to take this detour. It is one not to miss. Imagen Pass. Being the second highest drivable pass in Colorado, Imagen Pass is a great Jeep trail between Telluride and Ouray, Colorado. Lots of history, scenery, and unfortunately, that means lots of people. This is a beautiful trail any time of year, but it is best in early summer right after it has been plowed. Of course, being as high as it isn't open once the snow flies, so if you're gonna go up there, it would probably be in snowshoes. But overall, the scenery is fantastic and there are waterfalls abound. Of course, we had to include this next one, Black Bear Pass. Black Bear Pass is one of the best known Jeep trails in the state of Colorado and probably the United States. It has a reputation for being dangerous and even killing a few people. It is possible to die on this trail, but that is true for most of the trails in the Rocky Mountains. This trail is a two-way as it begins from US 550, but switches to a one-way at a point when it gets too narrow and scary to pass. This trail features a moderate route for stock vehicles until you reach the descent into Telluride. This is where expert driving skills and the pucker factor comes into play. The road is a solid ledge, but it is a little bit off camber, somewhat narrow, and there's a big drop on the driver's side. This is truly a mental game and is the scariest part of this trail, so be careful. You'll want to think about what you're doing and you will be okay. This is one of those trails you don't want to rush and really think everything through. Of course, after you get down that scary part, you're on the next scary part known as the famous switchbacks. The first and sharpest will require several backups and probably some spotting, especially if you're like us and you took your long bed Tacoma or your full-size pickup truck. All the switchbacks are sharp, but not nearly as bad as their reputation may lead you to believe. A note is always make sure your vehicle is in the gear you want it to be before you release your brakes. Our last trail we're going to include on this list for you is Mineral Creek. Mineral Creek is a major access for Ouray-based off-roaders heading into the San Juan Mountains, including Imagen Pass and the Alpine Loop. This is a four-wheel drive road and is not suitable for passenger cars in any way, shape, or form. You must have high ground clearance to complete this trail. It is one of the harder, more technical trails that is part of the San Juan Mountain region. There have been several situations over the years where there has been some people who believe that because it's shown on a map that they should be able to drive it, and they end up damaging their vehicles and getting an expensive tow bill. This is definitely one of those trails you want to stay away from unless you are capable. This trail features shelf roads, rocky ledges, and lots of off-camber obstacles. It connects either with Poughkeepsie Gulch, Imagen Pass, or, of course, Nimous Forks. So there you have it, a list of trails that can take you to amazing places in the San Juan Mountains without having a lifted Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Some of these trails have longer videos on our channel, so if you'd like more information about a specific trail, we'll have this playlist available for you. In the future here, we will be providing GPX files for all these trails we have mentioned on our website. We hope you found this video helpful, but until next time, go have some fun out on the trails. We'll see you soon.